Yeah, that's right. I got some gummy bears. I just finished my lunch. What a beautiful day. I just finished my lunch and I'm back now. We're going to talk about top 10 list overall. Now, I told you guys there was going to be some changes. I even let the cat out of the bag who's sitting at number 1. But you don't know the other positions. Now, I thought this week it was pretty fair. There has to be consistency. There has to be a continual push forward if you want to make it onto this list. Looking at this list, I think it's pretty fair. Sure, there's some horses that are on it. I mean, when I look at it, I talk about Adrenaline Rush. He certainly hasn't done enough to crack the top 10 yet. Barbie's Crown's been real good the last 3 weeks, but she's got a little more work to do. Can't Muscle Me has quietly been extremely good the last little while. Both her and Tipsy and Dixie, both those muscle mass fillies, are both starting to come on and look really good. Harry loves Tipsy and Dixie, and pretty hard not to like Tipsy and Dixie, but Danny's done a real good job with Can't Muscle Me, and she's quietly starting to climb my personal list every single week. Desperado, although I love him, and I tell you guys, I every time I go with him, I think the horse looks great. He hasn't done enough to crack the top 10 yet. When I look at the horse in 10th, it's pretty easy. Fox Valley Britska, another horse, hasn't done enough yet. First Glance hasn't done enough yet. Walk on the Moon was in the top 10. He dropped off a little bit, and I think it's fair. When I look at the horses I have on this top 10 list, I think it's a pretty solid list and a pretty fair list. Stacy Hanover was on there. She just dropped off just a little bit, and that's my girl in Roy Hill. Roy Hill's been on it forever. He had a little curb. We had a crowd, but again, he didn't train this week. Every horse on this list trained pretty good this week. And that's my girl, trained great today. There's a lot of horses that are closing in on this list, but they just aren't there yet. So fair being fair. Here is your top 10 list overall and why. Number 10, Lincoln Hanover. Lincoln Hanover leaped onto this list this week simply because he was the best looking horse of everybody on drone day. I don't care who you were or what set you were in or how you trained, 2 or 3-year-old. Few horses looked as good as Lincoln Hanover. Lincoln Hanover, this is chapter 7 colt that was pretty well bred. Looked like either we made a mistake or everybody else did on day 1 in Harrisburg. And I just liked everything about this horse, you know. His pedigree was strong. He's a little back on his knees, and they did pose a problem in January and February. Not to say they never will again, but they certainly aren't right now. He was good again today, but he was awesome on Wednesday. Lincoln Hanover, fair as number 10. Number 9, another horse that jumped forward. I believe she'd been on this list once or twice before, but the consistency wasn't there. From what I saw after we made the final little shoeing changes on her 10 days ago, Johnny has gone with her. And she looked absolutely incredible today and again on Wednesday, and that is Eglaire AM. We have her sister Harness AM. Eglaire AM, not to diminish anything about Harness AM. I love Harness AM, but this is a bigger, stronger filly than Harness AM, and I like everything about her. We were flying from the head of the lane to the wire. Eglaire AM and Desperado. Obviously, he's a pacer. But Eglaire AM just so good. And then Johnny, like, she finished up right with me, and then afterwards powered through the turn. I let her go, powered through the turn into the backstretch and took off. This is a filly that just is putting it all together right now, and I think belongs at number 9. Number 8, she could have been much higher. She didn't train today because we were going easy on her. War We Welcome. She has been absolutely lights out the last little while. Was absolutely fantastic on Wednesday. Somebody said, how can you put Lincoln Hanover ahead of War We Welcome on Wednesday? It's a fair question. I can tell you how I did it was because I expect War We Welcome to be good. She's been our best filly, or one of them, since day 1. So I expect her to do good things. Lincoln Hanover kind of came out of left field on Wednesday, right? I was in the set and didn't really believe what I was seeing. How fluid, strong, powerful he was, and then knowledgeable to finish us off. Frilly Fringes I had driven pretty hard in that set, but I was not getting to him. And Lincoln Hanover, that is why I put him on that list, on the top of the list on Wednesday. And to be honest, War We Welcome did everything right and continues to do everything right. So she's going to stay at number 8. She didn't train today. So a couple of horses that have been training great continually over and over again landed ahead of her. And I think that was a fair assessment. Number 7, 10, 9, 8, 7, I'm a Lovely Lady. Another filly that could be higher and likely will in the coming weeks. She has been absolutely awesome, was great again today. Just a real impressive filly, got a lot to offer. I'm a Lovely Lady comes in at number 7, number 6, GW Chrome. I suspect you're going to see this guy continue to climb the list. This is an incredibly talented colt, does everything right, does everything we ask him, and has been absolutely lights out the last 7-8 weeks. And GW Chrome looked great again today. For a horse that's extremely competitive, and as competitive as he is, it must be difficult to sit back on the inside and then trot hard down the lane knowing that you can't catch them. Must be a little frustrating for him, but at the same time, I want to go easy on him for the next little while because he deserves it. Number 5, Blue Monk. This is a horse that I cut loose 10 days ago. This is a serious colt. He's no joke. And again, take it all with a grain of salt. This is the stable.ca. I can't talk about how Greg McNair's are, or Virgil Morgan's are, or Ron Burke's are. I have no idea how they are, but I know that Blue Monk is a talented Ontario sire pacing colt, and really excited to see what he's going to do this year in the Sire Stakes. Number 5, Blue Monk. Number 4, Frilly Fringes. She's going to start to climb again. A week ago, I'm like, what the hell's wrong with her? She doesn't seem to have that same kick, that same pop that she had before, and wasn't super impressive. Then on Wednesday, I used her pretty hard, but Lincoln Hanover, dispatched her pretty easily coming out of the turn, kind of sloughed her off and drove away. Today, there was nobody going to slough her off. She was really, really good. She came, she put her big girl pants on today. She was very, very good and extremely impressive looking filly. All 3 of our Pennsylvania trotting fillies are on this top 10 list. All 3. Obviously, One My Heart Hanover is, Frilly Fringes is, and Aglaire AM. All 3 of these fillies are on our list. And the 4th filly, who isn't quite in the same caliber of these 3 just yet, made it under a top 10 list from today, and that's Sweet Ambitions, at Father Patrick filly. So Pennsylvania looking fun, at least in the filly trotter side. So good, so far, so good for them. So Frilly Fringes comes in at number 4. Number 3, Eternity Road. He got dropped out of the top spot. You got to put it all together, and he's obviously going through a growth spurt. He made a little break the other day. We wanted to get him right. Him and Where We Welcome are going to the vet tomorrow just to make sure they're okay. Obviously, this time of year, a lot of these horses' knees are starting to bother them a little bit. Is it just growing pains? Is it a growth spurt? Or is there something we need to have taken care of? I don't believe there's anything wrong with either of those two, but nevertheless, Eternity Road made a break on Wednesday, did not train today. I certainly can't put him ahead of the 2 horses that are ahead of him, so that brings him in. He could actually fall to 5th or 6th because this is a very, very strong list. But fair being fair, this colt has been our more dominant horse all year, so we'll leave him in number 3. Eternity Road, number 2, Beef and Cheddar. Fair is fair, as I said before. This colt shows up week in and week out, has been awesome, and when we gave him those 2 weeks off, he really used those 2 weeks, didn't he, to really cool down and get sounded up and just look great. Wasn't that he was hurting or sore or lame. I shouldn't say he wasn't hurting. He was hurting a little bit. You could tell his knees were bothering him. He was running in quite a bit. On Wednesday, he was much better, and again today, he was absolutely awesome. 2 Ontario-bred pacing colts are in the top 5 of our top 10 list overall. That is a rarity, I think, in the stable over the years. Number 1, I let the cat out of the bag all day today. I couldn't stop talking about her. I always talk about her, and yeah, she's the teacher's pet, so to speak, but I love One My Heart Hanover. I love everything about her, and she was absolutely fantastic today. What she did in her training mile, I thought going out on the track, I know she can cut it and win her training set. I know she can come from way off with blinding speed. She seems to have lots of tools, but I've never seen her just sit out there. What happens when you just move her and sit? Will she sit? Because I ask her to sprint lots. Maybe it's wired into her. Maybe you move her over and she attacks immediately. What would she do if I just sat her on the outside? So I thought of the most uncomfortable position I could put her in a training trip, especially over a 1.5 mile distance. And that's exactly what I did. I moved her just past the 8th pole of a 1.5 mile training set. We weren't going super fast. We were going 230, 229, something like that. But I just let her, and I moved her over, and she's so smart. She just sat there and just kind of sauntered up 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd, sat on the outside 3rd, on the outside 2nd, and then, as I said, James came with a huge brush down the backstretch, was set the mood, and cleared everybody and opened up like 2-3 lengths. You think she'd get excited? Nope. She just waited. I just shook the lines at her and called on her halfway around the last turn. The one place in the racetrack she used to be susceptible to a break if she was ever going to be. And she just dug right in and just inhaled, set the mood coming out of the turn. Fox Valley Britska was coming to me down the lane, set the mood was coming back on. She's so determined and so strong. I just, as I said, I would be interested in hearing any arguments of why you don't think Won My Heart Hanover is the best horse we have on the property today. That could change next week. But right now, today, she's the smartest, she's the most durable, she's quick on her feet. I love Won My Heart Hanover, and today reassured me why. She's the total package. I don't know where her racing career will take her. I have no idea where, but I can tell you this much. She's some kind of nice filly so far. So that's the top 10 list. It's April 25th, I believe, and that is our top 10 list overall. I'm having a pretty good weekend. Obviously, there's whispers of racing starting up again. It's a beautiful sunny day, plus 15. I'm going to go to the car wash after a while. But I'm going to sit here. I'm going to finish my list for you Saturday at 3:15 after the barn. I'll be right back. We get all the barns to talk about and still all the babies to talk about.